What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the RBS Cinema Podcast.
I want to play a game.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We'll float down here. Yes, we do.
Swallow this.
Please, God.
Here's God.
Here's Johnny.
Game over.
RBS.
Lovely. Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of RBS Cinema. And it is finally Halloween. So it is literally the spooky day.
It is the Pokemon!
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
I'm your host, Devin. With me, as always, is co-host Jack.
I'm still Jack.
And this will be the last horror movie that we're going to talk about for this month. So next week, we got a whole new stuff lined up for the month of November. It will not be specifically the last horror movie that we will ever talk about, but just for a while, we won't talk about horror movies.
It just won't fit the theme of the month that we have.
Yeah. So,
and might I say, have we saved the best horror movie for last? Perhaps.
It's a good possibility. It is definitely my second favorite franchise of all time, which being this week's episode is Scream. And yeah, so if you guys missed last week's episode, we talked about Happy Death Day because it was the 1-year anniversary of the podcast. So if you guys haven't seen that, go check that out. Really appreciate it. With that also being said, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, because who knows? If you suggest a movie, we might actually talk about it in the podcast, and then we'll shout you out. So with that also being said, share this around with anybody that likes movies, likes two guys talking about movies, likes podcasts, any of that stuff suits your fancy. Please be so inclined to share this around.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
With your friends, family, your dog, your cat, your alligator. I don't know. Share it with your toilet. I don't care. With that also being said, let's kick off with our watch list.
Yeah.
So,
I'll let you go first, since you had a lot to talk about from last week's episode. So.
Okay. First up on my list, I have Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3.
Yeah, Devin was actually watching Nightmare on Elm Street 2 as we started the podcast last week.
Yes.
So I got to see a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, I was like watching it while you and JK were coming in, and it was playing, and then you guys are like, what is this? And because JK's also not into horror movies either.
Yeah.
So, he doesn't know a lot of the nuances or the characters or the movies that are horror based.
Yeah.
And especially with the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, besides the first one, they're just like silly mostly. Like the deaths are just silly and stuff like that, because like even with Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the whole thing about it is that if you guys haven't seen it, it's just about how after the events of the first one, this new family moves into Elm Street, and Freddy is back, and it's called Freddy's Revenge, which makes no sense at all. But he decides to basically take over this kid in his dreams and basically possess him to do his bidding of like killing the teenagers and stuff like that. So, and then in the third one, it's called Dream Warriors, which I really actually like, because Freddy is back again, because guess who's back? It's Freddy. And he comes back and he terrorizes this specific group of children. And so they go to a psychiatric hospital to help them because they're all sleep deprived and all this bunch of stuff. They all have the same occurrence of seeing Freddy, but nobody believes them. And they're like, well, this doesn't make any sense. So what happens in the movie is that at a certain point, their doctor helps them by having them go into their dreams and realizing what they actually want to become. So like one of the kids is in a wheelchair. So in his dreams, he's able to walk. And so that's a telltale sign of him going like, okay, well, differentiate reality from the dream world. In the dream world, he's able to walk. But not only that, he's also into D&D. So he's able to become this wizard master. Or is it the Wish Master? I think it's the Wish Master. And I'm like, hey, I saw those movies. So, but he has like these magical powers and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the other girls is like, she's kind of like a bad bitch, right? So the only thing about her is that she has this giant mohawk, and so she's dressed in leather and black, and she has these two switchblade knives. Like, that's it. She's just like cool, and she's badass. That's her only thing in her dreams. The main girl of the movie is also able to be like be gymnastic. So she's able to do flips and cartwheels and stuff like that. Kind of like, you know, if you do a cartwheel and then you just keep spinning like that.
Yeah, she wants to be acrobatic.
Right. Yeah, that's the word. So yeah, she's able to be acrobatic and stuff like that. So
yeah.
They use these powers to basically combat against Freddy.
Oh.
Is the thing. So, and one of the kids is a sleepwalker, and it's actually pretty awesome of how his death scene goes, because Freddy uses him as a puppet. And he rips out his it's like, yeah, his tendons out of his arms and legs, and he's like using him as a puppet.
Yeah.
And he has him jump off of the roof of the like hospital. So it's actually really cool. So definitely check it out. I like the third one. I'm gonna go through the rest of them here pretty soon. So there's I think 8. So I still need to go back on Friday the 13th as well. So I also watched finally watched Peacemaker season 2.
Nice.
So there's that. I thought it was really good, given everybody's recommendation to me of going like, hey, have you seen Peacemaker season 2? I have not, but now I have. And now I can understand the context between on Fortnite, which you probably don't play Fortnite.
I do not play Fortnite.
But there was this huge controversy because they had his skin in the shop again, and like now it's too far gone. But they had this emote where he would do this dance, and he does the dance in the beginning of the show like they did in season 1.
Yeah.
And so he has his arms like going like this, and because of the more closer towards the end of the season, which I won't spoil it, they go like, oh well, we need to change this because now this is just like not tasteful anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just like, I don't understand, because now I understand the context of it being like, okay, given the events that happened at the end of the season, kind of makes sense, but at the same time it really doesn't, because he's not making a symbol that is in the end of season 2, but it's regardless.
I see.
But no, I thought it was really good. Definitely check it out for sure.
I wish I had more time to watch long TV shows nowadays, but like I'm hearing about the new season of the final season of Stranger Things. I'm just finding out now that like every season is like an hour and a half. Every episode is like an hour and a half long, and the episode finale, season finale, is like 3 hours long, and it's gonna be in the theaters at the same time it's released on Netflix.
What the hell?
I know. Like I heard that, I'm
crazy.
just like I don't have time, man.
No.
Like an hour already is a bit too long.
Yeah,
for
because
me.
like even me and my wife, we were driving around last night. We were talking about like movie times and stuff like that, of like how long run times are for movies, and I was trying to suggest movies for us to like watch because we're gonna have our anniversary off.
Right.
And so
congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thanks. And I was like, okay, you know, like because like I still have that ticket from the Alamo from you.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, hey, like, you know, what a better way to celebrate our anniversary than to go and see a movie for free, basically. Yeah. And she goes, actually, that's a really good idea. And she's not a movie person either, as I've said several times on the show. But when I was suggesting stuff, I go like, well, here's what's playing right now in theaters, because they don't have the show times up on the Alamo right now for next week. But I was like running down movies, and I go like, oh, you know, there's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie that's out right now
that I heard kind of bombed a little bit.
Yeah,
it was a bit
it's
overhyped, and then people came out and people were like, nah, this is not that good.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews on it. I've heard that it was really good, and some people were like, it's all right. But it's almost 3 hours long. And so I think it's what's deteriorating people from going and seeing it. It's like, I don't want to see an almost 3 hour long movie. But I was telling her, like, especially if you have a movie that is like over 2.5 hours long, you have to make it really compelling and like keeping your attention.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like even when I went to go and see The Batman in theaters, that movie's like almost 3 hours long, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of downtime.
Yeah. So even when I was watching it, it didn't feel like 3 hours at all. Because like with commercials and trailers and stuff like that, it's over 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But like, especially in theaters. But I watched it and I was all like, this doesn't feel that long. It felt pretty short. But again, it just depends on holding people's attention. Not just like, oh my God, like when is this going to be over? Or like, can we get past this part or whatever? It's like, no. And I even told my wife that if they made a 5 hour long Batman movie and I saw specifically it was 5 hours long, I'd be like, dude, are you fucking serious? I'm not seeing that movie. But then once I actually go and see it and I watch it all the way through, I'll be like, dude, that's the best 5 hours that I've ever seen. Like, I'm not saying that it would get to that point, but I mean, like the Lord of the Rings movies are like 4.5 hours long with the extended cuts. So
yeah, that was me earlier this year where I watched all of them, not back to back, but certainly I watched all the director's cuts, some of them for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we watched the Hobbit movies, all three of them, director's cuts, and those drag on.
Yeah.
In certain the Hobbit would drag
Right.
on. But yeah, like that's definitely a topic we could talk about like a wrapped episode is movie.
Oh yeah,
runtimes.
100%. Like movie runtimes and stuff. Because we've already talked about franchises. I think that would actually be a pretty good thing. So yeah, if
like,
you guys want to see us talk about movie runtimes and stuff like that, let us know in the comment section below.
We'll definitely do a wrapped episode on that.
Yeah, we'll do
always
a
need more
post-show
things to
about
talk
that.
about.
But anyhow, let's get back on track with my watch list. Next up on my list, I have Roadhouse from 2023.
Oh, the
2024.
newer one. Okay.
Yeah, I never saw the first one. Actually, I should, with Patrick Swayze. But I saw a clip of it on TikTok. I was like, you know what? Actually, I want to sit down and watch this now. Really good still. Jake Gyllenhaal is really good in the movie. It's got Post Malone in the beginning of it where he refuses to fight him because Jake Gyllenhaal is an ex-UFC fighter.
I got
he,
you.
Accidentally killed his friend in the octagon.
Oh.
So he's no longer a UFC fighter. So he just basically has his own like backstory being the fact that people don't want to fight him. And like underground fighting clubs and stuff like that. So, and it's easy, quick paycheck for him. So like, especially when we're first introduced to him in the beginning of the movie, he goes to an underground fighting thing and then he just takes off his hoodie and, he's ripped as shit. And then Post Malone just goes like, nope, I'll find anybody else besides him and walks away. And then the girl that hires him to be like looking after the Roadhouse, she goes like, oh yeah, that's a good way for you to earn some quick cash, using your own name to basically have people not fight you.
Okay.
Knowing that repercussion.
Interesting premise.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really good, and it's kind of like in the first one where he's like basically a bouncer at this most fucked up bar that there's constantly fights breaking out, people breaking stuff, all this bunch of stuff, and he just basically goes there and he cleans up, and then everybody doesn't want to fight anymore because they're like, man, he can really kick my ass. So it's pretty funny too because when he first fights these guys at the Roadhouse, he asks them like, okay, before we get started, do you have health insurance? He goes like, what? He goes like, do you have like good health insurance? Do you have dental and stuff? He goes like, how does that matter? And he goes like, hey, real quick, like, where's the nearest hospital? One of the goons goes like, oh, it's about like 25 minutes away. And he goes like, oh, okay. Slaps the shit out of all of them at first, and then he starts beating the shit out of them. And he like drives them to the freaking hospital and drops them off. And he goes like, hey, yeah, like that guy, he has a broken arm. This guy, he might have like some internal bleeding. This guy probably has a couple of bruised ribs. So, whatever. But it's a good time.
Yeah.
Next on my list, I have Marvel Zombies. Because around this time, because this will come out on Halloween, I decided to watch Marvel Zombies. It's only 4 episodes long, They're not even half an hour long either. It's a piece of dog shit.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
It's bad.
It's bad because it's not even based about the comics Marvel
Right.
Zombies, which I was really looking forward to. I'm like, dude, Marvel Zombies, like this is gonna be awesome. No, I was very disappointed in it.
It's their own MCU bullshit, right?
Yeah, because it's all based on the What If episode.
Yeah.
And that's why. It's like 5 or 6 years after the events of the What If episode. And that's what we're going off of, is the 5 years
We're going off of the
after.
what if cinematic universe.
Yeah, the one episode of the What If Marvel universe, or Marvel Zombies universe, which was very good actually, because I own the comic of Volume 1, which I do want to get more of those. And it's actually a more interesting story of the Marvel characters, because in this, it's all about the Scarlet Witch who is controlling the zombies, and how she, because they take out Thanos, who is a zombie, where it's just Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Ant-Man, who is now just a head in a jar, and he has Doctor Strange's cape to help him fly around and stuff. And when they kick Thanos' ass, they unearth, well, he more specifically unearths the giant thing of vibranium, like the core.
Yeah.
And so Black Panther sacrifices himself, pushes him and Thanos into there, and now the Infinity Stones are like having this huge amount of like aura that are fucking up the world. And then they like the people of Komatage, they take the Hulk and they put him in there, and so he's able to like absorb all of the Infinity Stone like radiation. So
Is this the
type thing.
comics or is this the
This is the series.
this is the series you just watched?
Yeah. Because in the
Why-
comics, it's
why
actually...
are we talking about the Infinity Stones in the year of our Lord 2025?
Well, it's because that they need like a pivotal thing. Even in the comics, like the at least Volume 1 that I have read and I did not see anything about Thanos or
Yeah.
anything, because it's all about in the comics, all like everybody turns into a zombie. There's only like a handful of people that aren't zombies, and they are Marvel superheroes and villains, and everybody else is turned. All like the Avengers, X-Men, like a bunch of different people have turned into zombies, and now they're just trying to find food in order to survive, because like if they don't have any food, then they can't survive, and then they just basically starve to death, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that's basically what they want to do, because with the zombie virus, you are essentially infectious to other people. So that's all that the zombie virus does, is that it just spreads and it infects.
Yeah.
You're not really thinking about the fact of going like, well, the zombies are hungry, you know, all this bunch of stuff. So it's from their perspective of the zombie Avengers and X-Men and stuff. So it makes for a really interesting story, but not this show. So it's just really dumb.
Yeah, it sounds dumb.
Moving on to the last thing that I watched was Scary Movie, the first one. Because we were talking about Scream, I wanted to see a Scary Movie, and yeah, it is pretty much verbatim like Scream. Because like it's there's a small segment of the movie where it is the last I Know What You Did Last Summer is what it is. And so in that movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's all about like these group of teenagers. They're like on a drunken drive and stuff like that, and so they accidentally kill somebody by hitting them, and then they bury the body, and they go like, we take this to our graves. Nobody knows about this. It's been years since I've seen that movie, but somebody is going after them and killing them one by one, so that way the last person that knows about it is just the last person that knows about what happened, because they were afraid that everybody else was going to turn on each other and say like, oh yeah, we all killed this guy one night and blah blah blah. So that's basically the whole premise of Scary Movie, is like, oh, one of them is playing as the killer, and they're just like, I'm afraid that you guys are going to say something, so I'm just going to kill all of you. before anything happens. So, but some of the things I wanted to point out in Scary Movie is like in the beginning, which we'll get to for the actual movie, is like where the killer's on the phone and he goes like, the girl goes like, "Who's this?" And or no, it's later on in the movie where he calls Sydney and he goes, and so she goes like, "Who is this?" And he goes like, "I'm in the house."
What do you want?
I'm in the house.
I could be anywhere. I'm like the wind, baby.
He's like giggling and stuff, and so she goes like, "Where are you?" He goes like, "You'll never find me." And so she goes like, "Are you behind the couch?" And he just goes, and he looks up, he goes like, "Ah, shit." And he goes like, "All right, turn around. He tries to find a new hiding spot. It's really funny. One of the other things that I also wanted to mention was like they're walking out of this school and they're talking about the killer and how they're after them, and she's like, Sydney is just sitting there going like, "What are you waiting for?" and spins around in a circle a few times. And there's a teacher that's on the roof of the school, and he goes like, "I'm gonna jump." And when she says this, she just goes like, "What are you waiting for?" And then it's his perspective, and he just goes like, "What am I waiting for? What am I waiting for?" And he jumps and he says, "Fuck you," and he kills himself. And so she like looks back, and so she giggles a little bit. It's funny.
What are you waiting for?
The other thing was the rules, which is at the end of the movie, because in Scream, in this movie, there's the 3 rules, right?
Yeah.
So in this one, it's Shorty, and he goes like, "All right, if you're seeing this right now, it means only 2 things. 1, I'm locked up, or worse, I'm dead. So if you're seeing this, then you got to remember these 3 rules." He goes like, "You got to be quick, you don't fall down, and don't look back." And he goes like, "All right, I'll see y'all later." And then he just yells, "Snatch and grab, y'all." And him and his friends, they're at a convenience store. They just start grabbing a bunch of shit and they run out of the store. It's funny. But yeah, that's oh yeah, I also wanted to mention this as well in the beginning of the movie, was that the killer asks the girl of like, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And she goes like, "Oh, Kazam, the one where Shaq plays a genie." And he goes like, "That's not a horror movie." She goes like, "Yeah, well, have you ever seen Shaq act?" So yeah. That's it on my list.
Okay, I'll run through my list real quick because it's not much. I watched Vice again.
Nice.
On my day off on Wednesday because I had to do so. I had to watch over my neighbor basically because she's old and she got back from the emergency room, so I just had to stick around, make sure nothing went on. So I watched Vice in the morning because I woke up.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it. This is like the 3rd time I've seen it. So
nice.
I purchased it because it's just a really compelling story.
Not
because I agree with a lot of the stuff that Dick Cheney did and stuff like that, but like the way it's like framed, the lens of all of it is just like, it's kind of like a satirical but also like a biopic of Dick Cheney's life.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and then I watched the new documentary on Netflix called The Perfect Neighbor, which just released, which is a documentary that's filmed almost exclusively through video cameras and police body cams, which is the story of a woman in Florida who was contested because she was trying to evoke stand your ground laws because she killed a woman by firing a gun through her door after the person who fired the gun, the woman, was like threatening the woman who's got killed's kids.
Yeah.
Because she had a big problem with kids playing around in her yard, even though it wasn't technically her property.
Right.
But she would just constantly call the cops on these kids.
Yeah.
Because they were just kind of messing around in the yard.
Yeah.
So eventually it got to the point where the mother of the kids went over and started banging on the door because, well, she was threatening her kids. So, and then she gets shot.
Yeah.
And the woman who shot the gun was eventually sentenced to 25 years in prison for manslaughter. And given how old she was, then she's not gonna.
She's not gonna survive.
She's not gonna survive in prison. But this was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
This was in like this is in actually it's like
Tail end of like.
actually it was
COVID.
like 2 or 3 years ago. It was like back in 2023 when this incident happened. It's really sad. It's I would give it a watch if you're into sort of that sort of compelling, narrative.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it really happened. It's a true story.
Right.
So
Yeah,
but,
I still need to watch that one about the mom bullying her kid through text messaging.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested
Still need to see
in
that.
watching the series about the Murdaugh murders that happened in South Carolina on Hulu. That looks really interesting because they did a whole thing. They did a whole documentary of that on Netflix. So, and then my last one that I watched a little bit of the first part of The Martian.
Yeah.
Because it's also on Netflix. I was like, oh, I love this movie.
yeah.
Matt Damon is really good in that film. It's one of those like science fiction movies that is really suspenseful and actually plays more into the science rather than the fiction of it.
Right.
So I was telling Devin that we were talking about The Martian earlier this week, and I'd like to say that I came up with a new terminology for some of the science fiction that has come out in the past couple of years. I like to refer to it as science fantasy. Now it seems like where it's just it's like I would call most of the MCU science fantasy at this point, because at this point it's not even trying to be realistic anymore.
No.
It's just divulging further and further into like fantastical elements.
Yeah. pretty
Whereas
much.
like science like The Martian is really grounded in scientific like logic and reasoning, because it's based off of a book, but it's a movie where you think like, wow, this could actually happen potentially in the future, instead of like, oh, this is never going to happen. This is just like complete fantasy. So there's probably somebody else who's probably already coined that term. That's probably already a term that exists, but I wanted to just shout that out because I thought I'd stumbled on some sort of like
Great discovery.
great phrase. I'm going to coin it. So I have to finish The Martian eventually, but other thing on my watch list is just before we came on this podcast, we had to reschedule this till about like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, because I had to watch the Husker game, which is at 11, which normally we do the podcast at 10 Central Time.
Yeah.
And I watched Nebraska pull off a nail biter against Northwestern University. We won it 28-21. And Nebraska becomes bowl eligible for the first time before November since 2016.
I was gonna say, it seems like it's been a little while.
Yeah, we got bowl eligible last year, but at the very last second, and we won our bowl game.
Yeah.
But now Nebraska does it in the middle of the season as opposed to the end, which is always great to hear. It was stressful. So thank you again for Devin for playing around my schedule, because I know we were like going back and forth about what time we wanted to do this weekend. So, but that was my watch list for the most part. I didn't really do much other stuff besides playing video games and some other stuff.
Yeah.
Watching YouTube mostly.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of playing video games, I've been playing Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight.
it's a good one. It's my favorite one.
Yes. The only thing I don't like is like the tank missions. That's about the only
I
thing.
love the tank missions.
But I know that like fans of the series is like on the fence with the tank, because it's all like, oh yeah, like I've been wanting to play Batman and drive the Batmobile since Arkham Asylum, and you never really got to play with the Batmobile.
I love the Batmobile in Arkham Knight.
I like the Batmobile, but I just don't like the tank missions, because like they're forced, and that's what I don't like. I like having the option to do that, but not forcefully.
Yeah.
So I understand for like certain missions, like doing the bomb exposure, doing out like the militia tanks,
Like
and
side
stuff
missions,
like that.
yeah.
Right.
It's fine,
that's
but
fine,
having it be a
but
story thing is
right. Not being shoehorned into the main story plot is just kind of dumb to me.
I actually 100%ed that game. Like
I did. You can do 120% actually.
I think I did that as well though. But
Yeah, I did that for my Xbox. I got to do it for my PlayStation now.
So,
but yeah, because that takes place on Halloween, so I'm just like, I'm gonna do that, because I tried to do it last year and I only got like the first chapter after you discover the Arkham Knight, not who he is.
he's the first time he shows up.
Right. So
yeah, very good game.
Yeah, super good.
I'm excited for the Lego Batman Arkham games that are
I
coming out.
am too. It's the Dark Knight something or other. And it's going to be basically kind of like you playing Batman Arkham,
But Lego.
Like it's going to have the same combat mechanics and stuff.
Which I love the combat system in Batman Arkham
I love
games.
it. So, and like after that, like there was just so many games that did the same formula for their combat.
Like Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor.
Yes.
Which is also one of my favorite games of all time.
Yep.
Because I love that combat system so much.
Yeah.
So we could go on about video games, but we should probably talk about the thing we're here to talk about. Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about Scream. So, first what we're going to talk about is like role reversals.
Yeah.
See who was going to be in the movie, but either something happened or they just dropped out or what have you. So the thing that I have up on here is going down the list of actual characters. So we got Sidney Prescott, who's the main character. We got a few people that were considered for the role, being Brittany Murphy, Alicia Witt, and Reese Witherspoon. Also, Drew Barrymore was eyed for Sidney Prescott, as well as Melissa Joan Hart, Alicia Witt, and Brittany Murphy. And Molly Ringwald and Tori Spelling were also considered for the role. So,
That's a lot of names.
Yeah. And we got Tatum Riley, who is Sydney's best friend. In the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
So we got Natasha Lyonne and Marley Shelton were considered for the role. Gail Weathers, who was the reporter.
Yeah.
We got Brooke Shields, who was considered. And we got Janine Garofalo, who was almost casted. Who was in the running for it.
It's Courtney Fox, right?
Yeah, Courtney Fox actually got the role.
Yeah.
So, some other roles. So we got Casey Becker, who's Drew Barrymore's character. And it just says that she was just like wanting to do or considered for Sydney before she got the Casey Becker. And Alicia Silverstone was also eyed for the role of Casey. We got Matthew Lillard and David Arquette were auditioned for the role of Billy Loomis. But Matthew Lillard didn't get Billy. He got Stu.
Yeah, he got Stu instead. So, thank you for reminding me what his name was, because I'm going to refer to him as Shaggy Rogers for the entirety of this film because I forget what his name is.
Yeah, Randy Meeks, who was what's his face? I'm drawing a blank on it. Hold on. We've got the cast list up right here. Jamie Kennedy. He played as Randy.
Yes, Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I was talking last week about how I just saw Son of the Mask, and he's in that movie too.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen Scream before. I had no idea.
And you're like, hey, that's the guy from Son of the Mask.
I realized it when they were in the movie store scene.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this guy sounds like this.
Yeah.
It's like so.
But we got Breckin Meyer and Jason Lee, of all people, were up for this part.
Who's Jason Lee?
Jason Lee is the guy from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That guy.
Yeah, he's My Name is Earl. So
I need to rewatch Alvin and the Chipmunks at some point.
It's been a little while. And then last up on the list is Principal Arthur Hembry, who ultimately Henry Winkler got the role, but initially was asked to go uncredited to avoid taking attention away from the younger actors, is what we've come to find out. Because even before the podcast, Jack didn't know who Henry Winkler was.
I did. I just forget his name.
Yeah, but you're like, oh yeah, it's this guy, but you even said that he went uncredited because I mentioned that he was uncredited because he wasn't in the initial cast list. And you're like, I wonder why that is. And then it shows up on here is that you don't want to take away from the main people that were in the movie.
Yeah, because visually it was like, oh, I just didn't want to have this be on my thing.
Yeah,
but
my filmography.
But then it was like, no, he was literally asked to stop because to not be on the credits. I mean, because I know Henry Winkler most from as Coach Klein from The Waterboy because that's one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah. And I've known him from like Happy Days and a bunch of other stuff too, especially from Waterboy. So, but yeah, let's get into the vitals here for the movie. So we'll talk a little bit about what the movie is specifically about. talk about writer, director, stars, taglines, all that stuff, and then we'll get more in depth about the movie specifically. So, movie is about, in the small town of Woodsbury, California, a masked killer known as Ghostface begins murdering high school students, and a group of friends must use their knowledge of horror movies to unmask the killer. Got director Wes Craven, the great Wes Craven director. He did so many great movies. He did Friday the 13th.
I see.
A bunch of other ones. I think he did the first Wishmaster as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did. I don't remember. But we got writer Kevin Williamson, who I've never really heard of. And it's pretty weird on IMDb of how the cast list is, because it goes by
In order of appearance,
yeah,
right?
order of appearance, instead of just go like, okay, well, these are the main characters and blah, blah, blah. Because they're going off of first appearance, not really star power necessarily. So
we got to jump around to find the main guys on here.
Yeah. So, and we already talked about Henry Winkler, so just wanted to get that out of the way. We got Drew Barrymore, who's in the beginning of the movie, which, fun fact about the movie, everybody thought that she was going to be a big pivotal part of this movie because she was on all the promotional material, all the posters, like the trailers and stuff like that. It features more about her than any of the other people, but it's only because that Drew Barrymore at this time was actually like a big and rising star.
Yeah.
'Cause she's been a star since she was a kid, right? From E.T. was her first movie, and she was like maybe 5, 6. So after that, like, she's just been a star in movies ever since. But yeah, everybody just thought like, oh man, Drew Barrymore's in this, like I should go and watch this. But she's only in it for the first like 15 minutes. So but we've also got the voice over the phone is actually played by Roger Jackson.
Yeah.
So it's not Billy, it's not Stu, it's actually Roger Jackson that is the voice of Ghostface over the phone. And then we've got Neve Campbell, who plays as Sydney. Got Skeet Ulrich, who plays as Billy. We got Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, who we've already mentioned before. We got Rose McGowan, who plays as Tatum. David Arquette is Deputy Dewey. We got the Sheriff Burke, who is Joseph Whip. Matthew Lillard, Shaggy himself, is Stewart. And then last, we got Jamie Kennedy as Randy. So, got a few taglines here for you, Jack.
That's more than a few.
Let's go ahead and run through these here. A new thriller from Wes Craven. I mean, can't get any more simpler than that. Someone is playing a deadly game. Someone who has seen way too many scary movies.
True.
So
that's that's perfect.
That's pretty much what they say at the end of the movie. Is what Sydney says. It's like, you guys have seen too many movies. And he goes like, Billy just says, no, movies don't create serial killers. Serial killers just get their creativity from movies.
Yeah.
So, which is actually pretty true.
I think it's literally like movies don't create serial killers. It makes serial killers more creative.
Yeah.
Essentially, which that's real.
Yeah,
honestly,
it is, and especially at the end of Scary Movie, because they literally just do the exact same thing as this movie. Because Scary Movie came out in 2000. This came out in 96. And they do the whole stab at each other thing, right? And so, same thing. Cindy just goes like, "Oh, you guys have seen too many movies, blah blah," or "You guys have seen too many TV shows," and the one of the guys starts stabbing Billy, and he goes like, "No, like TV shows don't create serial killers. Like canceling TV shows does." And so, because he's one of the Wayans brothers, he starts stabbing him. He goes like, "Wayans Brothers was such a good show. We never even got a final episode. Like, it was just canceled." So that was pretty funny. But next up, Name the Killer, December 20th. I didn't realize this came out around Christmas. So
interesting.
He's taken his love of fear one step too far. I don't know where they got that
what does
from.
That mean?
Right. Solving the mystery is going to be murder, which is pretty good. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's a good one.
To survive a horror movie, you have to abide by the rules, which is actually pretty good, because in each one of the horror movies, there's always rules to it.
Yeah.
So no sex, no drugs, no alcohol, and don't say I'll be right back.
Don't say I'll be right back.
So those are the 3 top rules. I really like this one, actually, is don't answer the phone, don't open the door, don't try to escape. So it's pretty good. Someone has taken their love of scary movies one step too far. Solving this mystery is going to be murder. So they just took two taglines and put them together. So,
they got to put them on there.
yep. Someone's taken their love of scary movies one step too far! Exclamation point. So, make your last breath count. Now someone is now someone is victim and someone is a suspect. That doesn't make any sense. From the first name in suspense comes the last word in fear. Don't answer the door. Don't leave the house. Don't answer the phone. But most of all, don't scream. Last one is now everybody's a victim and everybody's a suspect. It's pretty good.
It's a lot of taglines.
It is a lot of taglines. So are we ready to talk about Scream?
Yeah, and I gotta say this movie surprised me.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot about it, and a lot about it surprised me in the fact that I thought this was one of the like this movie is touted as one of the great horror films.
Well, great horror slasher films, more specifically.
Horror slasher films, right? But like it's like such an iconic killer.
Yeah.
That Ghostface is.
I mean, as evident of me wearing my literal Ghostface shirt. I have like 3 or 4 of these now.
Like
so,
Ghostface is
great.
up there with Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Mike Myers as like
and
slasher.
Leatherface and
Leatherface.
And now Art the Clown, because now he's become more prevalent in the more recent years.
Right.
So from the Terrifier series.
But what I mean is like it's I thought he was well established, and I did not realize this movie came out in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this came out around the same time that all the other ones came out,
like in the 80s and stuff.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. I kind of mentioned this. Like I was surprised by that, and I was surprised about how much this movie played off of other established horror franchises. I mean, it makes sense that he does it for Friday the 13th because it's another Wes Craven film,
right?
But like all the references to like Freddy and Jason and all that sort of and like
right, because you've got like the janitor, which I have written down in my notes, but like you have the janitor that's dressed up as Freddy Krueger, and his name is Fred. So
Damn little shits.
What'd you call me?
Not your friend.
But it was just so refreshing because a lot of this movie's scary moments don't rely on supernatural sort of things.
Yeah, they're just a couple of random guys.
It's literally like you're trapped in the middle of a murder mystery.
Yeah.
But it's a murder mystery where it's not like a closed room. It's like across the entire town.
Right.
Right. Of this like it's Hillsborough, I think is the town name.
Woodsboro.
Right? Woodsboro. Okay.
Yeah. Because it is in a couple of the houses. It's at the school. So, but the killings more specifically happen at the houses. But yeah, the killer is at the school and stuff like that. So,
but I guess I'm saying that I like horror when it's plausible.
Right.
And I dislike it more when it's more, playing off of supernatural sort of things.
Because like throughout the course of all of the movies, it's just some guy. He doesn't have any supernatural element. It's not like he comes back from the dead. It's always copycat killers after this one. And even in the later movies, like 2 and 3 more specifically, they start getting meta with it. And so they literally have, like in the second one, I think it is, when they first introduce the, I think it's called the slasher films. And they're literally called slasher. And it's supposed to be the events of the first Scream movie. And from that point on, that they just make these into movies for the movie.
Yeah.
So it's just really fucking meta with it. And like that I really love. Because they're like, oh yeah, like they like everybody is infatuated with the killer because like it's meta because in their universe they made that into a movie because with Gail Weathers she makes the book about the killings that happened in the first movie. So then they start like, okay, well let's make this into a movie franchise. So then they start going off of there. So, and then even in the later ones, they go like, oh yeah, like the third one isn't as good as the second one, or like the first one's the best one, and blah, 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 blah.
It's this movie is kind of like a love letter to horror slasher film fans.
Oh yeah,
right?
100%.
And I was really surprised by that. I just thought it was just one of those that wasn't, but like it's self-aware.
It is
at times,
and like that's the reason why that like I mentioned the whole thing about like the in movies that they made.
Yeah,
that it's like
almost got a
self-aware
little bit
itself.
of dark comedy to it as well. It's got a twinge of that.
Yeah, because like Randy, who works at a movie store, he constantly talks about horror movies and stuff, and the killings and stuff like that. And it's also the fact that like later on in the party, when they're all sitting down and watching horror movies together, he talks about the 3 rules of any horror movie, which is 1, no sex. So like, you have to be a virgin and then you last the longest.
Yeah.
Or you get away. The second one is like no drinking and no drugs.
No drugs or alcohol.
And then number 3 is like don't say I'll be back.
Yeah.
Because you won't be back because you'll be dead.
Right.
So
it is a perfect balance between a horror movie that takes itself way too seriously and sort of like a campy, sort of self-aware horror
and
film.
it's playing off of those tropes as well.
Yes, but like it strikes such a fine balance that I was just not expecting.
Yeah.
So it definitely won me over in that sense because I've said previously in this for the month that I'm not too into horror and I don't rate it too highly because I'm not familiar enough with the genre. I mean, I can't really say that anymore as for the 4 movies that we just watched. I'm getting a little bit more into it, but I'm not a horror buff is what I'm trying to say.
Because like even with this movie, because of course it dawns on to make like 5 other sequels, now 6 because the 7th one is in production right now, as well as a show from MTV, and which I haven't seen, which I don't really know much about it, but even for that, it's like you don't even necessarily need to watch any of the other ones because the first 3 are basically like the first trilogy, and then you have the later trilogy. And even from 5 and 6, it's not even about Sydney anymore. It's all about these other characters entirely.
Yeah.
I think also in the 4th one, because like Sydney shows up from time to time in the later ones, but the first 3 are more specifically about Sydney herself. And then in the later ones, it's all about different characters altogether. And they still make it meta to the point where it's all like they talk about the last movies that came out, as well as Sidney Prescott herself as the main character from the first 3 movies.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, and they play off of new rules because in one of them they go like, oh, there are no rules anymore. So it doesn't matter if you've had sex. It doesn't matter if you drink or do drugs. It doesn't matter if you say I'll be back. Now there's just a lot more that go more in depth about the later movies.
Yeah.
But like I said, you can just watch this one by itself because it's so self-contained that it's not like the killer comes back and you don't know who it's going to be this time. Like that's the only thing is kind of like that it's kind of like a murder mystery, right? Who's the killer? Who's killing all these people? We got to find out who it is.
It's wrapped up.
Right. It's wrapped up by the end of it because like at the end, spoilers, the 2 killers basically are killed. So, which, it's rumored that Stu from this movie, Matthew Lillard, is going to be in the new one. So who knows? So it's rumored. But that's been rumored for the last 3 fucking Scream movies too. So who knows?
Who's to say?
I don't know.
Matthew Lillard of famed Five Nights at Freddy's acclaim.
Yeah, it's gonna Scream, baby. But yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, Drew Barrymore is only in this movie for like the first 15 minutes.
But it got me.
Yeah,
it got me. I thought this was the main character.
This is the most like pivotal scene that everybody remembers is her being at her house making popcorn, the killer over the phone asking her like questions about like what's your favorite scary movie and all this bunch of stuff. So
why would you let this continue?
Right. And it's because like, especially back then in like the 90s, you didn't have caller ID. Yeah. So especially when she first answers the phone and he goes like, oh, sorry, I dialed the wrong number. And so she hangs up on him. Right. Yeah. And then he calls back again. And so she goes like, oh, so you called me again and you dialed the wrong number again. He goes like, oh yeah, I wanted to apologize. Well, that's not what happens, obviously. But it's the biggest like quote of all time is, what's your favorite scary movie?
Some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah.
And especially where I have it in the intro of both like Ghostface and what's your favorite scary movie from this movie specifically, because it is such a big pivotal quote of any horror movie of all time. And it's not even the quote goes so far out of horror that it starts showing up in like other movies in general, like action movies, freaking comedy movies, all a bunch of different genres besides just horror. But that is such a big pivotal quote that it's just streamlined throughout the course of other movies besides just these. So, but the other thing too is like, when they're having the conversation over the phone and, you know, like she's like being all giggly and, you know, like trying to play along with it and everything like that. And he goes like, I want to know who I'm looking at. And she goes like, what? He goes like, I wanted to know who I'm talking to.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
I want to know who I'm talking to.
That's not what you said.
What do you think I said?
Like, so
It, like
I
it,
just
it takes a turn from playful, and you know,
playful banter.
Like
to,
his
like,
voice
serious.
is pleasant to listen to.
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
it's kind of funny because it's being used by a voice changer.
Right.
So you want like it was a smart move by the killer to have their voice be changed to something that people
Right.
want to listen to instead of like something that's like scary right off the bat.
Yeah.
So you can be a little bit more like tactful with how you're talking. So that was a
Right.
good choice by I was a good choice by the killers, and that was a good choice by the director to like we want to make a voice that can be scary,
Yeah.
but one that like if it's talking on the phone, you want to be able to keep listening to it essentially.
Right. Yeah, because even in the later ones, they do have a voice changer.
Yeah.
But they actually talk at the victims and stuff. Because like there's a few times where the killer shows up and I think it's in the second one where he's like waving the knife around and he just goes like, "Hello, Sydney," and like he uses the voice changer. He's not holding it up to his face.
Yeah.
But it's just there. So you don't know who it is still.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how it happens throughout the course of the movies, is that you don't really know who the killer is up until like towards the end, if
Mm-hmm.
not the middle of the movie. So, but yeah, like those things specifically is like, what's your favorite scary movie? I want to know who I'm looking at, as well as like, don't hang up on me, I'll gut you like a fish. Like threat is kind of like awesome.
Like,
But
why would you keep answering the phone?
Right.
was what was going through my mind through all this.
and especially when after you've seen it and you go back and you rewatch the movie, like after the events of Drew Barrymore dying and stuff like that, one of the things is like all of them hanging out by the pond, like the fountain at the school.
Yeah.
And where they're talking about like her getting killed and stuff like that, where Randy goes like, "Oh, like maybe you're the killer." And he goes like, "Yeah, I didn't kill anybody," to like Stu. And Billy looks at him, he goes like, "Yeah, nobody said that you killed anybody." And he looks back and he goes like, "Thanks, buddy." Like, once you realize that, it's because that Stu didn't actually kill her. Like, it was actually Billy that killed her.
It was Billy was the killer,
Because they both go back and forth between being the killer of who they're doing it to.
Yeah.
And like that's also the other thing too, is like when something like that happens, like I had this written down in my notes too, is like whenever the killer shows up and then they're just gone, you also notice that somebody bursts into the frame like Billy does most of the time. Like especially when the ghost face is in her house and when she's like on the phone with him and she's all like outside, she goes like, "What am I doing then, huh?" Like she's picking her nose or she's got her finger up her nose or whatever. She goes like, "If you could see me, then what am I doing?" Turns out he's in the closet. And so like she runs upstairs to her room and then she starts to like go on a computer to like dial 911 essentially. And when the killer runs off, then all of a sudden Billy shows up.
Billy shows up.
And it's because that like Billy is waiting for Stu to leave, and then that way Billy could just show up and then he's not the killer.
Yeah.
And
It provides an alibi for both of them.
right. And especially when he gets arrested and they go to the a police station and he gets like asked all these questions and everything like that. And so especially towards the end of the movie when they finally have sex and like, you know, they're getting the clothes back on and whatever. And she starts asking him about like, oh, like, who did you use your one phone call for? And he goes like, oh, I used it for my dad. And she goes like, no, you didn't, because you asked the sheriff to do that. So, and so he goes like, what do I have to make you believe that I'm not the killer? And then all of a sudden the killer is behind him.
And that clears him.
Stabs him.
Yeah.
And so, and like, you know, that's Stu. So it makes that whole dynamic of going like, okay, so now you can determine on who's Billy and who's Stu, and especially where Stu, what he does is like, I also love this too because it's a big pivotal theme throughout the course of the series, is them wiping the blood off of the knife.
Yes.
That's Stu's bit that he does, and that's what everybody was alluding to from like the last couple of Scream movies, so like 5 and 6, was that the killer was wiping the blood off of the knife like Stu does in the first one. So they're like, oh my god, it's Stu, he's finally back, like he didn't actually die in the first one. But it just turns out that it's somebody else. But now it's again the rumor that Stu is still alive and he's actually the killer again. But it's all like, why though? Why would he come back and be the killer again? Like, I'm not saying that he's too old or anything like that. Like, there's no really clear motive except for to go after Sydney. But if she's not really the main character in the movies anymore, then why do that? And, like, you know, later on, like, some of the main characters do die off, but still, it just doesn't make any sense.
What's interesting to me is that I believed it was one guy up until the point where they said it was not one guy, it was two guys. Right, because like I seriously didn't know who it was. I was still trying to figure it out up until the very last point, which is such a great thing because, like, there's multiple times where you think, oh, it's him, right?
Yeah,
and because like what a bad horror movie does is it's so obvious who it is,
right?
And you can make a guess like that, and most of the time I was like, I knew it, you know.
Kind of like in Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day was
like, it's the roommate.
Yeah.
So
it was obvious.
Yeah.
So, but like this one, it seriously kept me like thinking about who it was, and that's the great part of what makes a mystery so captivating, especially a murder I can't speak. A murder mystery,
right?
Is that you know, it keeps you guessing. It makes you think of multiple different possibilities because, like, literally anyone could be a suspect.
Yeah, and especially during that scene that I already mentioned was like them hanging out at the fountain and stuff.
Yeah.
Both Billy and Stu are wearing black boots. So
right, and
like people aren't really that like paying that close attention to it. Unless
I certainly didn't notice it.
Yeah, unless like, you know, you're either specifically pointed it out, or two, you actually look around the surrounding areas and you're like, wait, they're both wearing black boots. Why are they both wearing black boots? And then later on come to find out that they're both the killer. So yeah. Because I didn't realize that up until like somebody pointed it out that like those articles on Facebook that you would see of going like, oh, like here's the top 10 list of whatever bullshit movies, or like here's things that you haven't noticed in these horror movies that are
like it's like BuzzFeed or like the spam articles that are on like a certain like
and it's mostly from like comicbook.com or something, right?
And
or Collider or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I'm also glad that like the events preceding this film did not take place too far in the past.
Right.
Like Sydney's mom dying happened a year ago.
Right.
It didn't happen like several years ago.
Right.
Because then that would make even less sense as to why she died. She was murdered, right? If it was 1 year ago, because like they're all the same age, right?
Yeah.
So like spoiler, like Stu and Billy killed Sydney's mother a year ago.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense because they've been dating for 2 years.
Yep.
So, but if it was like 3 years ago, it was like, wait, so that means you were like 15,
right,
or something like that. Like it wouldn't have made sense. But everything makes so much sense, as even to the point where like, yeah, of course it makes more sense to be two killers,
right,
because you say they can swap alibis, they can cover more ground.
Yeah,
it makes them seem a little like way more like scary and evasive and stuff like that. There's a lot of logic put into this.
Plus the whole thing,
which I appreciate.
Yeah. Plus, like Billy, and like especially like at the end of the movie where Sydney asks like, "What are your guys' motive?" Like Billy's motive actually makes the most sense versus Stu's, because even Stu just goes like, because she asks like, "Well, what are your guys' alibis going to be?" And he goes like, "Well, mine's just going to be peer pressure."
Yeah.
Like all that bunch of stuff. Or like, you know, when the cops come, what are you going to tell them? Like, oh, like I had peer pressure. Like Billy has motive. What do you have? And Stu just goes like, oh, I'd say it's peer pressure.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really have a motive. He's just doing it just to do it because
Stu's nuts.
Yeah, he's like friends with Billy, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because Billy has the motive of where Sydney's mom was basically a whore.
Yeah.
And everything like that. And the whole town knows it, and blah, blah, blah. And that's the reason
She
why.
slept with my dad, and that's why my mom left. And
because she was SA'd, and so she was killed. And it's because that, like, oh, my mom left because your mom slept with my dad.
Yeah.
And so, like, my mom decided to leave and all this bunch of stuff. So, like, your mom had to die, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it's like they basically pointed the finger to somebody else, because Sydney said, like, oh, it's this person specifically, who we come to find out is in the second one.
Yes,
so,
he's a killer that was like framed basically by small bits of evidence that Gail Weathers brought around, and she's trying to prove him innocent.
Right.
But Sydney's this whole time is like, no, you're just a bitch.
Right.
And you just hate my mom, don't you?
Yeah, and like the whole thing with when they're at the police station, and so they leave out the back way, and Gail starts talking to her, and then she goes like, "Oh, like how's the book coming along?" And she goes, "Oh, it's great. Like I'll send you a copy." And she turns around and just wham, punches her right in the face, and I'm like, "Oh, so good."
So, how's the book? Well, it'll be out later this year. Oh, I'll look for it. I'll send you a copy.
Because she is kind of a bitch, actually. So, but she does it very tastefully.
You really start to turn around even on Gail Weathers, because at first you think like, oh, she's just a sleazy tabloid sort of, like reporter basically.
Yeah,
like,
she doesn't care about the other person's feelings or what they're going through. She just cares about getting her story out there.
And again, it like her character arc is really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
As a sort of side thing to the main plot.
Right. Because like even her character development throughout the course of the movies is actually pretty good, because she's still a sleazeball like reporter type woman, but she starts to actually like her outer shell starts to fall apart. Yeah. Because her and Dewey end up together and stuff like that. So,
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Because like Dewey's 25 years old in the movie, and so he's kind of like a dimwit. He's like fresh on the force and stuff like that. So
he's the deputy.
Yeah. And so he's just like, especially where like nobody respects him, and he even tells her that like Dewey's just a nickname because nobody really respects me in the town, so everybody just calls me Dewey.
I also like the subtlety and sort of explaining that Dewey and Tatum are siblings too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because like they don't like shoehorn it. They sort of like casually mention it as like Sydney is being like loaded in, or like she's being helped up by paramedics, and Dewey tries to help her, and then Tatum's also there. Right. So they just they casually mention it, but it's not like surprising. Like, wait, what? How would you just gloss over that? But it wasn't also like super obvious. Like, thanks, bro. You know, stuff like that. I hate that.
Because like even after the first attack, right, and like Sydney runs back downstairs and runs outside, like Dewey's right there at the door with the mask in hand, turns around and has the gun in his other hand, and he screams too. And I'm just like, why is he just standing there?
Why are you standing there holding up the mask? Like,
yeah. So,
but it makes sense because he's kind of an idiot,
right?
So,
but yeah, so like when we were talking about like it's been a year since her mom died and stuff like that, like he gets released from police custody and stuff, right? So he's back at school. They run into each other. And he goes like, oh yeah, it couldn't have been me last night because like I was at the police station all night, and shows his hand because he has the black ink from the fingerprints. Yeah. And so he's like just basically telling her like like, get over it. Like, stop being sad about your mom being dead. It's been a year. He goes like, because he just goes like, my mom left me and my dad, and like I've gotten over it. So
it's not quite the same thing.
And so
It's
she
like-
just goes like, it's not the same thing because like your mom left town. My mom's in a grave somewhere.
At first you're like, well, that's so bad. Like,
it's
I was
super
like-
fucked up.
It's like yeah, it's super fucked up, and then you realize why. It's like, oh, because he killed her mom.
Yeah.
So he's trying to force that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I like that just came to me right now. It's like, oh man, this movie must be even better on the second watch through. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, the more that you watch it, the more you actually like and appreciate it, especially noticing subtle nuances like that of going like, oh, just get over it. Like your mom died a year ago. Just fucking stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And then especially her retort is like, I'm sorry my traumatized life it is inconvenience to you and your perfect existence. And so she goes running off and shit.
Which they do
Like-
call him like a perfect guy, by
Yeah.
the way, or Tatum does, I think.
Right. And then we'll talk about the principal scene because like this is pretty good because he takes out the giant scissors because he has like two of the kids with the masks on.
Yeah.
And he goes like, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves and blah blah blah. And like the sheen of him with the scissors and like him cutting the mask up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like that whole just the scissors is like, oh, it's so good.
It made
and
me-
they're comically big too.
Yeah.
Like they're not just a normal pair of scissors. Like they're fucking huge.
It
Like,
made
they're
me
almost
think that
gut-in
he was the killer.
Yeah. And like especially with them being super big as they were, and especially later on when he has the mask on and he's like checking himself out in the mirror and he goes like, "Wah!" and all that bunch of shit, and then he hears something outside,
Yeah.
and like then we see the janitor and how he's
who's-
dressed up
yeah,
like Freddy Krueger,
Freddy Krueger.
and he just goes like, "Sorry, Fred,"
Damn little shits.
and I'm like, okay, I see you, Wes Craven, like just shoehorning your own character into this movie. All right. But then ultimately, like he gets killed by the killer and stuff like that. But yeah,
He got killed because, like,
I think he was just asking questions and stuff like that.
oh yeah,
But I don't know. It could have been.
I think I remember there
Stu.
was someone who killed him because maybe it was because to throw suspicion on the kids who were pulling a prank. Maybe.
I don't know for sure, but I also jotted this down too. Is that Ghostface is clumsy as fuck in this movie?
Oh yeah,
because he keeps tripping. People keep throwing shit at him.
he gets hit in the nuts, I think.
Yeah, because like especially when Sydney's attacked for the first time at her house, he's like trying to stab her, but he can't because like she's holding him back.
Yeah.
And then she like either she punches him or she kicks him. I can't remember. And then like basically just to throw him off of her.
Yeah.
So and
Which-
then especially when later on when I think it's Tatum. Yeah, Tatum is her name. When she goes to the garage, she gets the beers and stuff at the party, and he's there, and so she goes like, "Oh, what? Do you want to play Psycho Killer?"
Yeah.
And so he doesn't say anything. He's just like nodding and stuff.
Yeah.
And she goes like, "Oh, like I hope I make it to the sequel," and like everything like that. She's basically fucking around with him.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that it's real, but then she like cuts her arm, and so she starts backing away, and so she goes to run for the door again, and then
She
just
gets-
grabs the beer bottle, starts throwing them at
Yeah.
him, like gets knocked to the head, knocked in the nuts, like just basically being thrown beers at him, and I'm just like, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it again, it's a lot more compelling watching a killer who is not just like an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Like unstoppable force or unstoppable force of nature, you know?
Yeah.
For me, that's more compelling because, like, oh, there's a chance that they could get away.
Right.
But then they eventually, like, do something and they mess up, and then that's what
Right,
leads them
like
to
where she
dying.
goes through the doggy
The
door,
doggy
on
door.
the garage, and then
The garage goes up.
I'm just gonna turn on the freaking garage
Yeah.
door and just like kill her that way. So, which is actually really great.
Yeah.
Especially in Scary Movie when that same thing happens. And it's like this fat chick, she tries to go through the doggy door and the killer's just like, why? And then so he tries to do the same thing with the garage door going up.
It doesn't
but then
go up.
she's too heavy and then the whole thing just collapses on top of her.
Ah.
It's a really funny way of doing this scene. But the other thing was that when they're in the bedroom and then they're like where she goes like or Billy talks to Sydney and he goes like, life is like a movie. She goes like, life's not a movie. No,
it's
she,
like,
yeah, she thinks no. She goes like, I'm trying to get this together.
Billy is like, I feel like our relationship is a edited down version of a movie on TV.
Right. And then so
He talks about movies way too much.
He does. And so she goes like, but life's not a movie. And he goes like, yeah, it is. Like, you just don't get to pick your genre. And then they make out and stuff and whatever. And
It's
blah,
corny.
Blah, blah, like,
Yeah.
but then they're hugging and stuff. And so she goes like, I wish I was in a Meg Ryan movie. And so she goes like, or a really good porno. And it's his shot. And it's just like, what? And so she goes like, you heard me.
You heard me.
Or even a good porno.
What?
You heard me.
And so
I want you to fuck me, Jerry.
right.
Fuck me.
Yeah. And so like, especially early on in the movie, which is hilarious because like he basically comes to the window and so he goes like, oh yeah, like I never really came to your window before, so like this is new to me.
Yeah.
And which is just kind of dumb because he goes on to talk about how like, yeah, I was at home and I was watching The Exorcist. It kind of reminded me of you.
Yeah.
It's just like, the fuck? Because like they even talked about that in Scary Movie because again, they have the whole dialogue from Scream as the basis for for the movie.
Now I have to
And
watch this.
Scary Movie.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Watch this for my own sake.
Yeah, because like I said, they literally just took the script from Scream, they used that, and they just put in some comedic bits into it. That's it.
Yeah.
But in Scary Movie, he goes like, yeah, like I was at home and like I was watching The Exorcist and like it reminded me of you, and so she just goes like, oh yeah, I got too drunk one night. And like I puked green and my head spun around like one time. And he goes like, that's not what I was saying at all. So
Well, what were you saying, Billy?
yeah.
Because that kind of sets up the fact that like
because then they start talking about like that life's like he starts talking about like, oh, when we were in a relationship, like we were rated R and then we were on our way to NC-17 and now it just seems like that's more PG-13 or something.
Yeah, and also like it has to do with like her dad also being there.
Yeah.
Which her dad goes out of town for the whole course of this movie. So
Right, because like he goes out of town for business or whatever, and
Yeah.
then that's their ploy to be like, okay, well, her dad is the killer because he goes away.
Yeah,
turns out that
he's
he actually didn't check into the hotel.
he's the perfect
So-
suspect. Yeah.
So they just make him the killer because their whole elaborate plan was that like they would do all these killings, kill Sydney, kill the dad, make it look like that he basically killed himself, and then because he goes crazy because it's the 1 year anniversary of his wife dying.
Yes.
So then he just goes on a murder spree. So
It's pretty genius, actually.
yeah. One of the things that I have written down that was pretty funny was that when he kills the cameraman from the news, like Gail's cameraman.
Yeah.
And he's just on the windshield. And she goes like, I'm sorry, Kenny, but get the fuck off my windshield. It's really funny. But yeah, then like at the end of the movie when they're stabbing each other, like this whole bit is great because Billy goes too far with stabbing Stu because he's
like,
actually
you really stabbed me,
him.
man. It really hurts.
Yeah, he goes like, I feel a little woozy here.
I'm feeling a little woozy here.
And like Billy's only been stabbed once, and so like that's kind of fucked up. But the other thing too is like I've also seen this recently, maybe earlier this year or last year or something like that, where Sydney runs off. Right, she's in the house. She calls them on the phone, and so she's doing the same thing that they do.
Yeah.
With like hiding and stuff like that. And when she like Billy's pissed off, and so he throws the phone at Stu and he goes like, you hit me in the phone, or you hit me in the head with the phone, you dick.
Fucking hit me with the phone, dick.
They were like Matthew Lillard and him, they were at this convention. And so somebody asked them a question of going like, did he ever apologize to you for hitting you with the phone? And so he goes like, you know what? He never did. And he looks straight at him. So they have that whole bit. And he goes like, all right, Matt, I'm sorry for hitting you in the head with the phone. And he goes like, and so he's all pouting. He's like turning his back to him. He just goes like, I don't want to hear it, like type of thing. So it's great. I love how they can go through that whole bit of going like, it's obviously a movie, but some of the shit that they do is real. Like him get hit in the head with the phone.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty fucked up. And then he gets back to the phone and he just goes like, did you really call the police? She goes like, yeah, I did. Like, so now your ass is going to be fucking done. He goes like, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Like, that's real. Like, he's more concerned about his parents being mad at him than him actually dying right now. So, and being arrested. But the last bit that I had was when Billy is shot and he's like supposed to be dead. And especially with Randy, with his whole thing.
Randy's like, this is the part of the movie where he comes back to life after being supposedly dead.
Yeah, and like,
like
he's for one last scare, and then he does that, and so she shoots him right in the head. And she just goes like, not in my movie. And like, that's basically the ending to it. So, but yeah, so like, that's the end of Scream.
Yeah.
So...
I don't want to, let's not talk about it too much because I definitely need to go. You should go watch it for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and like this has been out for years.
We run down the biggest events in there. We could go we don't need to go super nitty gritty with it because like we hit on the big parts of it.
Yeah. So let's talk about our ratings here. Unless you have anything else for Scream.
No, I have nothing for Scream.
So cool. So let's go ahead and get into our rating system. So this is going to be a rent, buy, or skip. Rent is, of course, just it's an all-right type of movie. Occasionally watch it every so often. Buy is a fuck yeah movie. This is the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors type of movie. Or this is a piece of dog shit type of movie to where you don't even fucking want to watch this. It's not a guilty pleasure. Don't watch it with your friends.
This is a Marvel Zombies.
This is a Marvel Zombies piece of shit movie. I want you to go first because I don't think you've seen it before this.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? This is a buy.
Fuck yeah!
The best of the best of the best, sir. With honors.
This is a buy for me. And like again, this is coming from. I've given pretty much all of the movies that we've reviewed so far that are horror movies either a
rent,
or a
skip.
Actually, no. I think I gave Sinners a buy.
I think you did give Sinners.
I might give Sinners. I might be lying here, but like this is like
I don't remember,
an older.
But I think you did.
This is an older movie though.
Yeah.
Like because
this
Sinners
is like
just came out and it was
90s
like
joint.
Yeah,
so.
like Sinners just came out. It's really heavily produced. It's like it's got a lot of the cool special effects and stuff like that, and the whole trope where they do the two. I almost said Jordan Pierce. Michael B. Jordan on screen.
Right.
Why did I say Jordan P? Anyway, but this movie, again, it surpassed my expectations because I thought it was just going to be another one of these like horror films that are already well established. I was expecting to like go and watching it and like recognize a bunch of things I've already seen being referenced a lot.
Yeah.
But the concept of a killer who just steals like a basic Halloween costume from a store.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I actually had a Ghostface mask, and I think it was either me or my brother dressed as Ghostface for Halloween, and I never really got the significance of it. I thought it was just like, it's just a
Halloween costume.
Just a Halloween costume. It's a scary movie.
Yeah.
They made a movie about this. I wonder what it's about. I don't know because it was rated R.
Yeah.
But after watching it, it surpassed my expectations of what I thought it was going to be.
Plus, to piggyback off the whole mask thing, I remember back in like school growing up that some of my friends and classmates, they would have the Scream mask.
Yeah.
And so like there were some that you could actually like have that were like pumped full of blood.
Yes, that's the one that my brother had.
So yeah, so like especially the pumper, some of them would actually be like a heart instead of just like a random like squeezer.
Yeah.
So you could squeeze it and like the blood would just roll around in the mask. And I'm like, dude, that's fucking cool.
It's cool, but it's also kind of gross as well. And like for a kid to be walking around having that costume with like the concept of the movie, I was like, wow, that's kind of fucked up.
Or you've also got the one where it's like all red and it has the devil horns on it and stuff like that. Like there's many different versions of this mask.
Yeah, but like it's such a simple idea that like if you love horror films, then you've probably already seen this a bunch of times. But it's more for the people who are into horror films already going into the 90s.
Right.
But now it's like join them as one of the most iconic slasher horror films that we've been talking about, and that's not really much coming from me because again I'm not a horror buff, but
Yeah.
I'm giving this high praise, for me at least. And this is a movie that I would gladly put on my shelf if I had my theoretical shelf. Like this,
Right.
This might be my favorite horror film that we've seen so far, excluding Sinners. But I don't really consider that a horror movie.
It's more like a suspenseful horror thriller.
Yeah, but this is like a horror slasher film. This is definitely
Yeah.
my favorite one because I haven't seen Friday the 13th. I haven't seen Halloween. I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street yet.
Yeah.
So I got to watch this one before I got to watch those three, and I was impressed, and my expectations were exceeded when watching this film. So I'm gonna have to give it a buy.
Nice. For me, I would also say that it's a buy.
The best of the best of the best, sir. With honors.
Because this is my second favorite horror franchise of all time.
Behind
Saw.
Saw. Okay.
Saw is my first one, and it's only because that it's the connection that I have with Scream. Because of my grandfather growing up, I would always watch horror movies with him. And especially when I saw this movie for the first time, it scared the hell out of me because I didn't know what the hell was happening.
Yeah.
And so like it's all about this guy who's running around killing people with his knife and stuff. So it scared the hell out of me. But after some time later, I grew up and I got out and I got over that. Like I actually watched it, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. And especially like I watched all of them like last year or 2 years ago or something like that, like all the way through when I was on vacation at some point. Like I was out of state. Oh man, it was great. Like I watched all of them. I was like, dude, this is like my favorite franchise of all time besides Saw.
Yeah.
So like obviously you have Nightmare on Elm Street, you have Michael Myers, you have Halloween, you have Jason from freaking Nightmare on Elm Street. Like
Friday the 13th.
no, I said Freddy.
You said Jason from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. So Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween are the three big pivotal ones.
Yes.
Of the series. Scream is still up there for being such a good
It's
horror
iconic.
icon. So like, if you ask anybody, hey, what are your favorite horror franchises of all time? All of those are definitely in everybody's top 5 of horror movies. Now, do they get kind of dumb? I mean, yeah, I've seen a few of the later Friday the 13th movies. I've seen a couple of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies recently. So,
But if you take them at their very first like iteration, they're the first
the very
one
first movie in
the
their series, yes,
they're up there.
yeah.
Like
Plus, especially like I said earlier, was that this one is self-contained.
Yes.
It doesn't lead off into any other sequels. Like, yes, there are sequels for it, but it doesn't lead into anything.
like Happy Death Day.
Right.
Happy Death Day is not self-contained.
Right. Oh, also, I didn't mention this, but I did see Happy Death Day to You.
Yeah.
That was on my watch list. But regardless, but yeah, so like it's self-contained in and of itself, so it doesn't go off and alluding to other things or anything like that. And that's how the other ones are too. Like Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's
the
a
Friday the
compelling
13th, Halloween. Like all of those are self-contained original horror movies for the first ones, and then they just go like, well, let's just make this into a franchise now.
It's a compelling single like simple self-contained horror film.
Yeah, and it's again, it's another slasher whodunit movie because you're trying to deduce, well, who is the killer? Who is doing this stuff? And given the fact that we already mentioned this before, where he's not supernatural in any way, like, and in the later ones, they're just copycat killers. That's all
Right.
that they are. And the fact that later on they become more meta in of that self, like it makes it even better because of that reason. Because like I already mentioned that like Gail makes the book. about these murders. And then they go on to make movies about that book.
Which
and
is like,
then,
oh wow, this is a great inspiration. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this
right.
now.
So now it's just more meta in the sense of it having
You've
its
created
own
an
franchise in the
infinite
franchise.
number, potentially infinite number of Scream killers because
Right.
they have the playbook basically.
Yeah, because the playbook is essentially have multiple killers, don't be in two places at once, or I guess you could be in two places at once, but subverting everybody's expectations and wearing a disguise.
Yeah.
That's basically all that there is to it.
Yeah.
But and especially for the first 3 movies where don't have sex, don't drink and don't do drugs, and don't say I'll be back.
Certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. Number 1, you can never have sex. Sex equals death, okay? Number 2, you can never drink or do drugs. And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
Because those are the 3 big no-nos for horror movies.
Yeah.
And they still play off of those rules in other genres of movies. Or not other genres, but other horror movies specifically.
Other types of horror.
So, because like even in Cabin in the Woods, that's what they did too. So,
yeah, I've been told to watch Cabin in the Woods.
It's good. I also have it. It's on digital. So.
Okay, maybe I'll watch that at some point.
And also coincidentally, at the time of this recording, I bought the 4th Scream movie on Steelbook.
Really?
So
there you
because
go.
it was pretty cheap. It was under $25 for one. 2, I wanted to get the whole Scream franchise on Steelbook because, like, again, it's my favorite franchise besides Saw, and it's just really good franchise. So
yeah.
With that being said, let's go ahead and get into Suggested People.
Which should be interesting.
Yes. So now is when we go into IMDb. Since we both said that it's a buy, what we'll do is that we'll sometimes do a 110, sometimes both star review on IMDb. And since we both said it's a buy, so we're going to do a 1-star review and see how wrong these people are. So, person says that excruciatingly bad. One of the most overhyped, boring horror films I've ever had the misfortune of seeing. What happened to Wes Craven, the director of The Last House on the Left? Very good. The Hills Have Eyes? Good. From the rave reviews that Scream 2 has had, presumably from the same offenders who liked Scream, and who know nothing about what makes a good horror movie, I will definitely not waste my time again.
I think you really had to pinch your nose on that one to be able to get the full effect of like the tone that guy gave.
Yeah. So, and
the audacity
of these, like, he's made so many better movies. Why did he make this one? And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, we'll do one more. This movie sucks.
This movie sucks.
Good God, was that supposed to be scary or something? This is the perfect movie for your 14-year-old acne-infested, can't get laid MTV watching loser of a child. I'm sure they will like it. Maybe they can watch it after Dawson's or the new Seventh Heaven or Saved by the Bell. What a waste of videotape. 1 out of 10. Unfortunately, 0 is not on the list.
Is there a date for this review?
1999. So that's the reason why they decided to say Dawson's Creek, Seventh Heaven, and Saved by the Bell. And they said it's a waste of videotape because it came out on
I only
video.
know what like one of those things are.
They're like old.
Yeah,
they're old like TV shows.
I'm old, but not that old.
Yeah. Unless you want to do this one that's from 2011. It's
I
more
think
recent.
we get it.
But yeah, like I don't really understand why people don't like this movie because of the fact of it just being like, I get it in the sense of going like, well, it's kind of boring. Like, we already know who the killer is and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but
you don't like this movie because you got spoiled about it, basically.
Right. So, but I don't know. It is what it is. Can't control what other people have to say or do. So,
yeah.
But with that being said, anything else on the podcast or anything?
Nope, I think we're good. Nice
Cool.
Short episode.
Yeah. Shorter than the recent ones we've done.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. But
Sorry. But with that being said, thank you everybody so much for tuning in, watching, listening, however you guys are doing it. Again, be sure to subscribe, like, leave your comments, share this around, and happy Halloween! So this will be the end of the spooky month. And we will be back with other horror, spooky movies later on, but just not anytime soon. So,
as we're taking a break
yeah,
from horror movies, not from the podcast. You're still going to get us hot and heavy.
Yep.
Every week.
Yes. So be tuning in for next week to see what we got up for November. And then, of course, we got Christmas coming around the corner. So stay tuned.
Christmas.
We got the whole month of November lined up with movies that we want to talk about. So tune in for that. And we'll see you guys next week. So bye.
Bye.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.